Okay, I know that for a fact we will be bringing in the Minister for Aviation, Dr. Otham, or Supervising Minister, Dr. Otham. We've been in touch with him. We've discussed a number of things, but we're hoping that he will join us at some point, not on this episode of the program, but in the coming weeks. Now, having said that, one of the things I was thinking while you were talking, Elitris, is with this position now, what timeline do you think the government will look to implement the measure? Do you think it's any time soon? Because it's not being effective as far as we know.
Well, you see, we have put ourselves in a position where we shouldn't have. And I tell you why. If you look at, there was a pronouncement. Yes. And what you expect is that there's a new entity, FCA. They should have appointed probably a chief executive. But the legal framework does not make for that. There's nothing to support the pronouncement. Because there has to be an existing law for FCA to function.
Yeah.
And what it means, you have to dismantle the existing structures for a CA, for a
NCAA,
for
an
an FCA to be in place. Government has made a pronouncement. Government has set up a committee to work out modalities towards its the
formation of the FCA.
Actualization of the pronouncement. What I see is that I don't see this thing, coming true. My reason is because you recall Nigeria recently did the United States FAA carried out an audit reassessment of Nigeria towards its retaining
category
of its Category 1 certification.
Yes.
The audit, of course, there were certain findings, and you have 60 days within which to close up these findings before they will do a reassessment. Then they will come out with their final results. And unfortunately, this pronouncement came just the second week after the team from the United States left. It's a difficult thing for us. And my advice is that government needs to do something urgent. Because I fear it might impact in the negative on the fortunes of the country. The feasibility of the merger government sustaining the pronouncement, I have my reservations.
Okay.
Because you must have been following commentaries on the industry. Everybody's, the pronouncement did not go down well with a lot of people because government has not done the right thing.
Okay, I was going to ask you then, Benjamin,
Yeah.
From what Elitris has just said, when you listen to a number of commentators and analysts in the aviation sector, it seems as if this has cost something that I'd like you to put words to. What does it cost in the sector when you have a decision like this that becomes a pronouncement of government and it has no legal backing yet? Because I guess the intention of government is make it known and then follow it with action, but even that action has not become crystal clear. What's the impact on the sector?
Okay, what we are trying to do at the level of the union leadership is to talk to our workers, the workforce, to ensure that the pronouncement does not create the confusion that it is supposed to create. Because originally, this pronouncement...
The government will not want to...
Yes, I use that word.
The government didn't want to...
Yeah, because...
his intention to...
Our conclusion after a critical analysis and research is that definitely Mr. President was not adequately briefed on this before that decision was taken. The facts were not presented to Mr. President. And we said, for that singular reason, there is need for us to make Mr. President see reason. I am aware that Mr. President used Nigerian attainment of FAA Category 1 as part of his campaign when he was coming on board. And I don't see the same president now taking us 20 years back after that achievement. I keep saying that whether we like it or not, the intention of the committee is to say, let us see how we can reduce cost of governance. Mm-hmm. But my sister, there is no way you can reduce cost at the detriment of safety. Safety in itself is priceless. In aviation particularly, aviation is about precision, it's about on point. Why do we say safety is priceless? Malaysian aircraft. Up to today, several countries that are not even affected, because they are contracting member states of Okewu, they are involved in the search. Not because anybody feels that the people on board are still alive, but because there is no way you can create that uncertainty in aviation. There must be a precision. It must be found out what happened. A report has to be collected. There have to be
to prevent future
occurrences. Mm-hmm. And we cannot create that panic in the system, because ICAO is regulated, aviation is regulated all over the world, to say that there is tendencies for this to happen. And in the same way, Nigeria cannot mortgage safety on the platform of reducing cost. These agencies of government are IGR agencies. They generate their revenue. They don't get subvention from governments to pay. And all over the world, they are separated in order not to allow politics to model up safety. I give you an instance. The Amechi saga, Amechi aircraft, Rivers State Governor. Politics was brought into it, despite the autonomy of NCA. Despite NCA operating as a single entity or as a regulator, there were the political angle that the PDP government was trying to, frustrate his movement because he was, moving out of PDP. Now, what happens when the service provider are together with NCA and then still regulated by government? You see, we must, as much as possible, advise that aviation, whether we like it or not, because there's no parking space in the air. And because when an accident happens, there's that tendency for a lot of lives to be lost. Yeah. We have always said that the right thing must be done at the right time, and that is why ICAO is there to give us the standards, to also ensure that every contracting state follow those standards.